everyone, and welcome to the Political Job Interview, where I interview candidates running for election. I'm Vincenzo Calla, the host, and today I take on the role as the boss, giving a job interview to today's candidate, Stéphanie Plante. Stephanie is running for election for Ottawa City Council as a candidate for Ward 12, Rideau-Vanier. Thank you, Stephanie, for your time, and thanks for joining me today.
Buongiorno, Vincenzo.
Thanks for joining me, Stephanie. Perfect. So without further ado, let's get this started. As with any good job interview, I'm going to start off with an opportunity to learn more about Stephanie. So the first question, Stephanie, is can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your story?
Absolutely. Well, I was born and raised in the sprawling metropolis of Tecumseh, Ontario. I moved to Ottawa in 2004 to work for my local member of parliament, and I moved to the Vanier area. I now live in Sandy Hill. My son goes to school in Lowertown, so I'm a Rideau-Vanier ride or die. I love this ward. I cannot wait to see what the future holds for it, and I hope to be a part of those opportunities.
So I wanted to ask you, what made you decide to run for this position? Why counselor and why now?
That's a very good question. So my jobs have always sort of involved nonpartisan work. I worked at Elections Canada and I currently work on the Hill. I really like the idea of being more sort of independent, the idea of top down, sort of someone is giving you your talking points and you're all under the leadership of one person. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just kind of not my vibe. I prefer a lot more bottom up. If you look at my platform online, I would say 90% of the things in there are things people have told me going door to door or my experiences in community associations. I really like the idea of maybe I can take a position on one thing, but then I can have a different position, even though like ideologically that may not seem congruent. So to me, municipal politics is the perfect sort of pathway to that because you are independent, but you are working as part of a larger group to make Ottawa the awesome city it is.
And that's so important. I mean, being able to be in municipal politics as a counselor, you get to have your own say, but you learn that collaborative teamwork that's important in all levels of government,
Absolutely.
but you're not, like you said, taking cues from a leader and having to just spew talking points, which is good sometimes, but sometimes you want to do your own thing, right?
Correct. Yes.
Let's take a bit of time now to talk about this job and what you bring to it. So the first question is, what experience do you bring to this job?
So I've always worked in sort of democracy promotion and protection. And as you know, we had occupation convoy, whatever you want to call it, in February. And that really galvanized me, especially because it did affect my ward. The trucks were all up and down King Edward on the Rideau Street and on Laurier. And, that affected the municipal. This happens a lot in municipal, right? Where something is happening at the federal or the provincial level, and then the municipalities kind of take the brunt for it, whether that be COVID, the convoy, housing, et cetera, et cetera. And so and I know this sounds a bit out there, but I live in Ward 12 and my son is turning 12 this year. And when I spoke to him about it, he was like, yeah, mom, go for it. You have all these great ideas. People always come to you with solutions to their problems. You'd be really great. And, we talked about the hours of doing the election. And I told him he will have to come door to door every now and then and do some canvassing with me. So it really was with my family's blessing, with my work's blessing as well, because I'm on leave, that I was able to sort of jump in whole hog. And it's been amazing. Like, every day I go door to door or I visit somewhere in my ward. I live in, like, honestly, and I mean this sincerely, it really is the most fascinating ward. We have everything from Canada's largest bilingual university to the Rideau Center. We have 8 shelters. We have the vitality of Vanier. We have, it's really is, there's never a dull moment. So I'm really thrilled to be representing this ward. I can't imagine doing it anywhere else.
Definitely. And there's, like you said, there's so much going on in your ward.
Yeah.
There's so many different areas. Like you
Yep.
said, there's the University of Ottawa there, and then there's Vanier where there's a lot of social issues and people
Mm-hmm.
are there's a lot of people that need more social help, and there's just so much going on there. But I wanted to continue on and ask you, what sets you apart from all of the other candidates who are running in this ward?
Well, I have worked for all 3 levels of government, municipal, provincial, and federal. And so I think I have a really good idea of what we can and can't do at this level and sort of what areas we can really sort of tackle. So I'll give you a perfect example. In our debates, there was obviously this question about defunding the police or reallocating police resources. And I don't know if you saw, there was just a decision released out of the Superior Court in British Columbia where you're not allowed to defund the police. It was like this whole legal boondoggle that happened. And my thing I said is, well, one thing I really want to tackle and I want OPS to be a leader on is online harassment, bullying. These are issues that are super important and relevant, especially for women. I don't know if you saw what happened with Maron Fitzky in Quebec and Chrystia Freeland recently. And again, what we saw with the convoy. Like, I really want OPS to be a world-class leader in this because it's not getting any better and we need help. So that's kind of where I'm focusing my efforts on, because I know I can't control that other aspect of it. Yeah, and another one of my platforms, which we can talk about later, is my family doctor recruitment, which I'm really, really passionate about as well. In my ward, we have Faculty of Medicine, we have a Department of Family Medicine, and I really want those grads to be encouraged to stay in Ottawa because we have a lot of people in the city who don't have family doctors and a lot of vulnerable people in my ward who could really use one.
Definitely, and a big issue there that you're right, a lot of people don't have a family doctor. At this point, I just left my pediatrician. She kept me on for a little longer, but right now I don't have a family doctor for myself.
I'm so wow.
I'm fortunate that if I need help for anything, I'm at the University of Ottawa and they have a great health team there. But it's an everyday struggle that lots of Ottawa residents, Ontarians, Canadians don't have a family doctor. So that's just so important.
I agree. Yeah.
Part of serving as an elected official is serving those people who choose you, who elect you. So a few questions now about how you want to serve the people. So first one is, what is something that the people you want to serve need that you want to get done if elected?
Well, again, we just talked about my family doctor platform, which is kind of my baby, and I'm determined to see through. And the other thing is, so again, because I have a good knowledge of the different levels, in Rideau-Vanier, we have some government buildings that are kind of just sitting empty. They're underused. And I think this is a good opportunity to use, our connections with the federal government and just ask if we can convert those into housing, because we have a lot of people who need housing, specifically at 350 King Edward. This predates COVID. We have an empty government building that's right next to a daycare and across the street from a community center. And it would be a wonderful place to retrofit for housing. And I think I just also, I have a good knowledge of the area. I'm raising my family here. I've been here since 2004. I've lived in every single neighborhood or have ties to every single neighborhood. So I know how we can solve some problems collectively, like our shelter issue and our issue with some traffic calming and some of the things, more social problems, which you touched upon. And of course, being a Francophone from a minority community, I'm very well aware of the Francophone issues in my ward, and I'm very proud to be Francophone and I hope to represent those issues at City Hall because they're very important as well, especially living in our nation's capital.
Well, definitely, and lots of conversations I've had with a lot of people on this channel, especially about how Rideau-Vanier is unique in terms of Rideau-Vanier, Ottawa-Vanier, the provincial federal ward riding. Just in general, it's such a different type of ward, a different type of riding compared to all the other ones in Ottawa, where
you get it.
There's a majority Francophone community that has similar but also different needs, especially in preserving that Francophone culture while remaining in the city. And it's so important to continue that and continue that work.
I agree. And it's important for the capital too. Like, you would not be surprised how many times, I read about conferences being organized here in Ottawa or trade shows. And one of the selling points is that this is a bilingual city. And I think, we can really make La Francophonie, not just here in Rideau-Vanier, but be a wonderment that we have across the city, starting, from west to east. So I'm really looking forward to representing those issues should I be elected at City Hall.
So I finally wanted to ask you, what is one accomplishment that you have achieved that demonstrates why you'll be a good elected official if the people choose you?
Absolutely. So I think the best example of this is what's known as the Annie Putuguk Park we have in Sandy Hill. And Annie Putuguk was an Inuit artist. She's world renowned. She was the first woman to win the Sobey Art Award. And she tragically passed away as part of the Murdered and Missing Women in 2016. And at that time in my life, I was going through something quite difficult as well. But realizing that I had a much different outcome than Annie and how unfair that was, and the fact that we did not have, up until this point, anything named after an Indigenous person within our city facilities, I decided to go through the process of commemorative naming. And this is right when the pandemic had hit in like February 2020. And it took about a year and a half. We got about 35 stakeholders together. We got support letters from all across the country, all the way up from Cape Dorset, Nunavut to British Columbia to Germany. And we really had a wonderful dedication ceremony where we brought Mary Simon, our Governor General, to Sandy Hill, and she unveiled the plaque alongside Annie's daughter, Napachi. And it really brought the community together during what was, November 2021. So that was still pandemic full mode. And I'm really proud of that project. It really is a bright light in our ward. And we do have 3,000 Inuit people living in my ward. And we have it's kind of like a cégep, like it's a school that kids from the north go to in my ward before they go to university, kind of like a gap year school. So I'm really glad that they have something for them. They have, a park that's named after someone that they know. People are learning to pronounce Inuit words like Putuguk. And as someone who's had her last name mangled a good chunk of her life, I think it's very important that our outdoor spaces sort of reflect the history, and they're basically like outdoor museums. So now people know who Annie is, they know her contribution to the world, and I'm very proud of that project.
Thank you, Stephanie, so much for joining me today. It was really great having you, and I'm sure the viewers have really enjoyed hearing what you have to offer to them. Election Day is October 24th, 2022, and if you liked hearing what Stéphanie Plante had to say and live in Ward 12, Rideau-Vanier, you have the opportunity to vote for her on Election Day. Check with your local election officials for more details. To stay updated, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at BCProductions25. Check out my website, VincenzoCalla.com. Make sure to like, subscribe, and choose to get notifications here on YouTube. The Political Job Interview is a VCalla production, so until the next video, I'm Vincenzo Calla, signing out.